138 AD, the Chinese capital of Luoyang. A bronze dragon opens its jaws and drops a ball. No warning, no shaking. Nobody in the room felt a thing. And a court official looks at that fallen ball and tells the emperor an earthquake just happened, hundreds of miles away. Nobody believes him. No tremor in the capital, no messenger, no news yet. Just a machine, and a man betting his reputation on it over his own senses. Days later, a rider rides in from the west. An earthquake really did hit, almost exactly where the machine pointed. And this wasn't a lucky guess dressed up as science. This happened 1800 years before the modern seismograph existed. A jar full of bronze dragons got there first. So how does a jar full of ornamental animals actually sense the ground moving from hundreds of miles away? And if it genuinely worked, why did it take the rest of the world almost 2,000 more years to build one again? The device is called the Houfeng Didong Yi, roughly, instrument for measuring the wind and the movements of the earth. Most people just call it the Seismoscope, credited to a man, Zhang Heng. He wasn't some isolated tinkerer. Zhang Heng was one of the most respected minds of the Han Dynasty, an astronomer, a mathematician, a cartographer, a court official who'd already built rotating globes to track the stars and calculated a startlingly accurate value for pi. Earthquakes weren't a hobby project for him, and in Han China, they weren't just natural disasters either. They were read as a political signal, proof heaven was unhappy with the emperor's rule. Detecting one fast and accurately wasn't curiosity. It was damage control for the government itself, so he had the motive and the mind. The question is what he actually built. Picture a bronze vessel roughly 6 feet across, shaped almost like a wine jar. 8 dragon heads sit evenly around the outside, each facing a different compass direction. Each dragon holds a small bronze ball loosely in its jaws. Below each one waits a bronze toad, mouth open. Somewhere far away, the ground trembles. Just one dragon releases its ball. It drops into the toad below with a clank. Whichever direction that dragon faced, that's where the quake came from. That's the whole visible mechanism. A clank, a ball, a direction. Simple enough to describe in one sentence, which is exactly why it's unsettling, because something inside that jar had to be doing real, sensitive mechanical work to make that simple result possible. And nobody alive today has actually seen what that something was. Zhang Heng's original device didn't survive. No diagrams in his own hand survived either. Everything we know comes from historical texts written decades, sometimes centuries later, by people describing a machine they'd never personally opened. The leading theory is a central pendulum, a heavy column that stays still through inertia while the vessel and the ground beneath it shift during a distant tremor. That tiny relative motion trips a lever, and one dragon lets go of its ball. Chinese and Japanese researchers have built working reconstructions using versions of this idea, and they work. They genuinely detect simulated tremors and release a ball in roughly the right direction. But a working reconstruction isn't proof of the original. It's an educated guess built backward from a 2,000-year-old description. Some historians think the real device was likely far less precise than the legend suggests, capable of confirming a quake happened somewhere, not reliably pinpointing a direction. And that famous story about the earthquake nobody felt in the capital survives in exactly one historical account, written after Zhang Heng was already dead. Stories like that tend to get a little more impressive with each retelling. So what's actually left is stranger than a clean success story, a real invention, almost certainly capable of genuine seismic detection at some level, wrapped inside a legend that may have quietly polished itself over the centuries. This exact pattern has a name in modern tech circles. In the 1970s, Xerox PARTS built a working graphical interface, Windows icons, a mouse years before anyone else had one. Xerox had the idea and the machines and mostly let it sit, because their business was photocopiers, not computers. Apple built an industry on it instead. Zhang Heng's Seismoscope is that story just centuries earlier. The idea worked. There was no ongoing institution whose survival depended on refining it. It got admired, then faded. The exact knowledge of how to build one was eventually lost completely and had to be reverse engineered from a description alone, centuries later. Brilliant ideas don't survive on brilliance. They survive when somebody downstream needs them badly enough to keep pushing. Here's the uncomfortable part. We still haven't fully solved the problem Zhang Heng was working on. Modern earthquake early warning systems, California's ShakeAlert, Mexico's Seismoscope, Japan's nationwide network, run on the exact same core idea he was chasing. Catch the motion before a body can feel it. Turn it into a clear signal. Get that signal to people fast enough to matter. Even with satellites and instruments sensitive to fractions of a millimeter, these systems still buy people seconds, sometimes tens of seconds, before major shaking arrives. Not minutes, seconds. The ground still moves faster than any signal announcing it. That's still, today, an unsolved engineering problem. So the gap was never really about cleverness. Zhang Heng was clever enough. What's taken 2,000 years is closing the distance between sensing the Earth move and doing something useful about it before it's too late. Historians argue about why this idea sat dormant so long. Some point to the political instability that followed the Han Dynasty. Some point to the difference between one brilliant invention and an actual institution built to keep improving on it, generation after generation. I've got a theory on which one matters more, but I want yours first. Drop it in the comments. I'm Scout. This has been Forgotten Engineering. There are more ideas like this buried in history, ideas that worked, that smart people understood, and still had to wait centuries for the world to actually need them. New one every week. Subscribe if that's your kind of thing, and I'll see you in the next one.